tell us when they approach these stations, shoot them and you'll defend us. I'm telling you the whole truth, you are a liar. You have lied. You will not protect me. All that you will protect it is your interest. You will not protect me. I will be sacrificed in court before a judge and I will be sentenced to prison. What happened to Katito? He was sung as a hero. But finally, the determination of the court came out. You are not justifiable to kill even a criminal. What are you supposed to do? If you are within the late positions of arrest, present that person before the court of law. I say no to police brutality. I say no more to killings. I can't kill my brother. I can't kill my sister. You are saying this because your children are not on the streets, right? You are saying this because your cousins are not on the streets. You are saying this because your brother or your sister is not on the street. You are saying this that they should be killed when they approach those stations where they are supposed to be protected, because there is nobody of your family who will be on those streets. I am very sorry, Kenyans. If these are the kind of readers we have, then I believe we have a problem of incompetency. We are very sorry about that. How will I go back to my children and tell them their mother is normal, or their father is normal, or their cousin is normal? It's because they were shot dead demonstrating and asking the government to hear their cry. Kenyans, we love you. Every OCS and every OSPD and ever we are, have seen people doing great work. Please, if they approach our gates, let
6 a.m. to about 8:30. Used to be a house here once when I was a child. People move away and never return to Barbados. The houses fall. The land stays vacant. Not many of the people who are born in Barbados and leave the island return permanently. Some return thinking that they had a plan all the time. They're going to leave London or New York, Toronto, and come back to Barbados and build a house, relax. And it didn't work out that way. I've seen quite a few people return to Barbados and then depart, because the lifestyle in Barbados and the one that they grow comfortable with in England is quite different. Well, England or New York, or quite different. They're grown accustomed to the chaos wherever they are. And when they arrive here, it's a different type of chaos. friends and family that used to be so welcoming when they came on vacation no longer. And there's a reason for that. You find the same thing in Africa though. Can't get used to the quietness. The small roads. Small roads. All right. Too many trees. Customs of grown accustomed to looking out the window and seeing the house next door, apartment building next door. They hear the noises from the neighbor arguing, fighting, children, gunshots. Can't get used to it, Barbados. You think that Barbados don't have any problems, you're wrong. The problems here are multiplied tenfold from what you face in America or England or wherever. Africa do I find the identical mindset. In other places I've been, I've seen 2 or 3 issues that are similar. Children getting on the bus to go to school. Oh, go back up the hill. Barbados is a place where there's think the last statistic I saw was like 1% or 1% of the economic activity here is by manufacturing. And manufacturing, they might be making bread. You know, which is a big part of the food supply of Barbados. But it's an issue throughout the Caribbean. Funny thing is the amount of wealth, or should I say wealthy people on the island, and I don't say that lightly. Because the island is kind of stable, and the amount of criminal activity, crime. Somebody coming up. All right. All right, man. It's not as high as all right, not as high as New York or even a big city, small city in America. Or not to say that it's good. I'm not giving the people who commit the crimes an excuse, because just because your neighbor is a criminal, doesn't mean that you should be. I keep telling Africans that in my videos, because they like to, when you say, well, you know, Africa, we can fix this. Well, it's the same in America, you know, it's even worse in America and Europe. But you can't tell a man to be a good person if you see his idol, his God, profiting from it. The man he worshipped is profiting, then he sees a need to be like that man. So I comprehend his position. But at the same time, like Barbados, they have no manufacturing. In the economy. And the manufacturer is like the foundation of a house. Everything else is built around it. America has lost all its manufacturing nowadays. the people who wealthy just got rid of it. And they got rid of it in order to spread their wealth and power around the world. And wealth and power for the Caucasian is control over the world. But when they moved the manufacturing out of America and Europe, guess what happened? The shift in power. In 2016, after trying all kinds of other gimmicks and tricks, America and Europe decided to stop the war in the Middle East, West Asia, and did what Barack Obama and his handlers determined was the pivot to Asia. And the pivot to Asia was not about engaging economically, it was engaging militarily. You're going to send the warships in to threaten. If you send the warship in, they will, come back in line. Chinese says, you know what? We're not going to fall for that. All right. And they begin to enhance their capabilities. In 2024 became almost a full-blown confrontation. Because China didn't just go it alone. It looked around the world and see all the other people who had a foot on their neck. And they start gathering those people together. To relieve the pressure off themselves. But you see, back to Barbados now, the problem with Barbados is that it can't do that. And independence came. It was an industry in Barbados. I mean, pretty good industries too. Not just rum. But in the ensuing 60 years, the biggest money earner in the island, which is sugarcane, it's pretty much gone. Clothing, manufacturing. I mean, when I say manufacturing, they used to grow cotton here too. And sewing, quite a few people were involved in the industry of making clothes. That is gone. Now, tourism is taken over as the main money earner. But that pivot to Asia, nobody here in Barbados is prepared for it. Because the dollar, as they know it, either Barbados is going to have to join the U.S., become a state. And not necessarily a 51st state, but like Puerto Rico, where the U.S. dollar is replacing the Barbados dollar for daily use. Or are we going to have a problem? Because right now, the cost of living in Barbados, I'm not talking about, people will talk about GDP and all that, but the more important is the cost of living, the cost of doing business, the cost of manufacturing, making things. Because GDP is a lopsided thing. It's driven by millionaires, not by the average person who is getting up to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning behind a lunch counter or food service, and working in a hotel, cutting grass, lawns of wealthy people. They don't have anything to do with GDP. When I say don't have anything, yes they do, but it's back to that 1% again, 0.5%. It's the banking industry, and the government here pushing the GDP. And the big problem that is creating, or has created, and the government can't find a way to fix it, is that, in my last video about Barbados, I said that this is chronic borrowing. You have to, your bill is coming due, your credit card bill is coming due. So you go to the last month you paid $50 on your credit card. You owe $5,000. You pay $50, and $50 is due this month. So you go back and borrow $50 or $60, pay off the $50, and spend the other $10 on that nice bag that you saw. That's the problem, and it's getting worse for Barbados because it don't have the power to do anything as far as the world economy is concerned. It can only create entertainment to get people to come to Barbados from America or Canada or Europe. Some come to spend the weekend. Some come to spend 6 months in the winter, leaving Europe and Canada and US. And when those people who make 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 can't come to Barbados for the weekend or for a couple of weeks. Therein lies the problem. There's a fix for that. But the capability, and you have people in government, leaders that are capable of the wisdom and the knowledge needed. You know, they all make great speeches. They go around the world making great speeches about climate change and the need for the rich nations to help them, help us, and help other small countries. But if they'd done the research to say that seeing that climate change is something that's like winter. Everybody prepares for winter. And those who don't prepare for winter end up like JetBlue did when the snowstorm came. People sitting on your airplanes for 8 hours can't get off the ground because you didn't plan. The city of New York didn't plan, JetBlue didn't plan, nobody planned. Don't have enough power like America is today with the AI. They don't have the power to drive the AI machines. The computers that they're training AIs on don't have the power to build them. When you're not prepared and your leadership is lacking, that's what happens. The cost of living in Barbados exceeds that of America. And anybody who's knowledgeable will go into a supermarket here and see a box of cornflakes, as they call it. Morning. Box of cornflakes, as they call it, $30. Almost 3 times the cost of any place else in the world. The life of the Barbados economy is high taxes on everything. You don't manufacture a lawnmower engine. If you buy a lawnmower engine, bring it into the country, 35, 40, 50%. I've heard people told me that some items at 60%. Automobiles can be 100%. Taxes is the new industry, new manufacturing. Hope you're enjoying your day, wherever you are. Peace.